Click here to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get instant notification of new videos as they're released. So I thought it was interesting this week that we saw Gary Neville come under further pressure in his new managerial career after they lost 7-0. And he made this infamous comment about, basically how no team should lose 7-0. And then he finds himself on the other end of that. But I thought it illustrated perfectly a contradiction, a problem that I see all the time, which is that pundits, punditry, and general commentators, I feel, are always severely undermined, or the vast majority of them are, by the fact that they've never done it. When I watch tennis, it's interesting to listen to players who've just come off the circuit. Or who are still coaching, because they give you fantastic insight. They were out there, they were playing it not so long ago and doing it, and they can give you really, really good insight. But typically, the role of a pundit or a commentator is to have an opinion, and generally, it's the wrong one. And also, lots of people will consistently have opinions without any evidence that they were actually able to do anything with it. Now, of course, I'm talking in terms of profitability, because there are people on racing channels, people on TV who will pop up on shows and various other things, and they're all deemed experts. And they are experts. Why? Because they can talk a good game. But I doubt that very many can actually deliver a good game. And I had an interesting experience where I was introduced to a football club, and they sort of said, well, why should we listen to you? You don't have any experience of this. And I turned around and said to them, well, I've done the hardest thing possible. I've not only got an opinion and formed one, but I actually act on it. I actually put my money where my mouth is and make it work. And the fact that I can do that should be of interest to you. So it's not an opinion that I have or have taken lightly. It's actually a very good judgment, and therefore I think you should be interested. Bless their conscience, they were. But when you look at a lot of people, Gary Neville was a good football player, played at the highest level, has no managerial experience, and it was a bit of a gamble to throw him straight into a managerial role. And on the face of it, it doesn't really look like it's worked at this particular stage. And he was always very opinionated when he was summarising matches, but having worked with tacticians and mingled with the inner workings of a football club, I realised there's a distinct line between how you do one thing and how you do another. So tactics are something that can be formed overall and can involve analytics and various other things. But motivating the team and getting them to do things and engendering that spirit within the team is definitely a manager's role. I can't do that. I never would attempt to do that unless if somehow I was able to magically conjure that up or something. But having an opinion on how a team should be played and actually getting a team to play that way are two radically different things. And it's funny because I've been pestering a racing channel and I've said to them, look, why didn't you let me come in? I can talk about anything you want. It could be a specific niche within racing, because I've looked at so many different areas. You may be interested in my opinion on that. In running pre-off, certain characteristics within the betting market, all of those sort of things. Or I can talk about trading, or if you don't want me to talk about that, let me talk about my experiences in other areas of the market. And the fact is, they have not written back positively. So I did something that I've never done before, and that was I went to Betfair, got them to summarise my history with them, so that they rubber stamped it, and I sent it to the show's producer, and I said, there you go, I'm not talking rubbish. And in fact, what I've done is something quite amazing that's not been done before. And I can talk about any aspect of it that you want. Just invite me onto the program. I'm sure your viewers would be absolutely delighted to throw questions at me, and I would be happy to take any question that anybody throws at me. So do you know what response I got back? Absolutely nothing. And I find that astonishing, because every day this channel has people on there. They're constantly coming up with opinions and ideas and stuff like that. But I wonder how many of them actually ever made a living from it. My guess would be very close to zero. If they did, they probably can't now. And the fact is, the market's changing, especially in racing. Racing needs to embrace all modern technologies and ways of doing things. And the fact is, I've put myself open to them to say, I'll come along and people can ask me questions. But the fact is, I just can't get a positive response from these people. Now, I suspect because of the way the industry is structured, the industry is actually the problem here. And the fact is that the betting and gambling industry is not there to help people win. It's generally geared against them. And as a consequence, having somebody on that can actually win money doesn't seem to fit very well into their mix. But it is frustrating because actually, me and I know loads of other people as well are brilliant within their particular niches, and yet you never see them in public. You never see them interviewed or talking about stuff that they've done. Some of them don't want to be talked about it, but having done this for 16 years, I want to continue this role of evangelizing and pushing the industry forward, because if we don't, then I think the industry will eventually run into trouble. But it is frustrating as well that you see people who claim to be experts, and I think the easiest definition of an expert is to show that you've actually done it, that not only is your opinion valid, but it was valid enough for you to actually risk money on it, and not only did you risk money, but you actually made something out of it. That is the ultimate proof, surely. And I think also, if you look at the trading market, there are a lot of people with opinions on trading, but very few that can actually show you that they've done it. I'm not going to stand here and say that person, this person, but I suggest, ask people, push them, and get them to validate it, because that's just as bad as being a pundit on television who has a strong opinion, but actually is pretty much useless. And, I think the format of Match of the Day is so outdated. You get about 3 minutes of the actual match itself, and then you get 3 middle-aged blokes talking about it for 15, 20 minutes, which is pointless. I can see with my own eyes what's going on in the match. I can form my own opinions, and I can argue with my mates about controversial moments in the match. I actually just want to see the match. I don't want to see 3 men talking about it who really just have opinions and nothing else, and there's no depth to it at all. So yeah, it would be nice, I think, if these programs would actually get real, and also if they would actually bring people on. And I find it amazing that I put myself open to these programs and they just will not invite me on. I find it absolutely amazing, because I'm happy to share some of my experiences and stuff, especially having been doing this for so long, and I'm sure it'll be interesting to you guys. And in an open forum on a live TV show, I don't think there's any better way of doing it. But is that going to happen anytime soon? I severely doubt it. Maybe they'll invite me when I'm long gone, but by then it'll be too late, and maybe it will be too late for them as well. If you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, its tools and the opportunities they present, then why not visit betangel.com today and download a free trial.